Yeah, he hit that inside curb quite hard. He was trying to tuck it in so that he got a run through onto the back of Negrão, but he just clipped it and that lifted the front of the car up. It was just the leading edge of the curb. But at that sort of speed, then it has quite a big reaction.
Jonny Adam just losing a second or so just in that fight, pure and simply because of the traffic. Now he can start to use that Aston Martin speed advantage on the straight just to start to pull it back in.
Every hour on the hour we seem to see this same move. You know, the Corvette gets ahead and then the Aston has to drag past, and the area we've seen it drag past is this next section of the Mulsanne straight. So he's getting the run out, using lots of track on the way out, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him go around the outside into the left-hander at the second chicane on the Mulsanne. Riding on board with Patrick Pilet, Fred Makowiecki. And in third place in the GTE Pro class. He's 13 seconds behind Jonny Adam.
And the chase is on. This has been a fantastic battle between them. There you can see the 97 of Jonny Adam, Aston Martin, going into that second chicane you're talking about. And there is Makowiecki halfway between the first chicane and the second chicane, running on his own. He doesn't have any traffic ahead of him, and so he can concentrate on exactly that. We'll watch the lap time as he comes round. He's got 13 seconds to try and gain back in 1 hour 45 minutes to do it. Let's have a little bit of Makowiecki radio.
Okay, Fred. Freitag gave Aston a 50-second present, which brought them back in the game. We're now fighting against Corvette and Aston, but we're 50 seconds behind. Copy.
And I believe need a bit of fuel to get there.
Yeah. So what really was he telling him? He didn't give him the big push, did he? He was just kind of, you are fighting them, but you're 50 seconds behind.
When you're in the car, you're looking out of the windscreen ahead of you, and there's the 4th position Ford as well. And so you're looking out the windscreen ahead of you, and you basically don't have an overall picture of what's happening. When people have pitted, how they've come, out of fuel, did they have a problem, did they change tyres? And you need that little bit of extra information, so it's a bit of a global view and understanding. Harry Tincknell pushing like mad. He's in 4th place right now, at a big stint in the middle of the night to drag the Ford back into contention. Currently 25 seconds behind Makowiecki, who was the 3rd place driver we just heard from right now, and using every bit of the road and that little bit more.
Those guys in the same position in fuel terms, Tincknell and Fred Makowiecki. Tincknell stopping 303 laps and Fred Makowiecki 304 laps. So whatever happens, that delta is genuine, and it's going to be very little fuel mileage in it. So if we think the Aston can go to the end, they do seem to have this in their pocket, because currently the gap, I don't believe the gap that I'm seeing on the screen.
Yeah, that's in the next one down, the Ferrari, the 71 Ferrari with Rigon at the wheel. That's another lap back at the moment.
Car 13, pit stop penalty for causing a collision with car 49.
That's our car that's in 4th place overall.
10 seconds added to their next stop.
That was the incident up at the Dunlop chicane where Nelson Piquet Jr. went down the inside, didn't quite get it done, and then there was a collision of right front against the left rear. And the stewards decided that it was going to be a 10-second pit stop penalty for Nelson Piquet, the car behind. This is the replay of that incident. Piquet on the right.
Information to the pit lane. Steward's decision number 53 adds a 10-second penalty on the next pit stop of car number 13 for causing a collision. Steward's decision number 53 adds 10 seconds to the next pit stop of car number 13 for causing a collision.
Well, Piquet really needs now to try to clear Negrão. I know he's been trying to do it for the last few laps, but he needs to gain that 10 seconds on the track, because when he does pit next time, he's going to be held for 10 seconds.
And hope that the starter motor works.
Well, yeah, the first thing the driver can do is do his part, which is on the circuit. The second thing is what the car does after that. And so he's caught back up on Negrão, but as we've seen before, it's not quite that easy.
know, both of them in the Oreca chassis. The Alpine is a Oreca rebranded as an Alpine. The run down now out of Mulsanne.
Alpine being a name that some people remember from rallying, and the Renault Alpine.
They've now launched the new A110, which is here and looks very, very pretty small 1.8 litre turbo sports car.
Definitely got some cues from the previous generation Alpine, there's no question. Over the back section of the car, looking nice and neat.
A couple of cars in the Pro category just slotting down the pit lane, the 71 Ferrari and the 69 Ford, as this battle continues. This is for second and third in the LMP2 category. These two cars here at the back of the line, but also more importantly, probably right at this moment, is an overall podium position is up for grabs between one of these cars at the minute. The 35 Alpine and the 13 Oreca. Negrão versus Piquet, but Piquet has a 10-second penalty to be added to his next pit stop. And Timo Bernhard in the pit lane. He is in second place. 2 minutes, the gap between the leader and the second place car as he heads down pit road. 12 seconds quicker on the lap just before this.
So he comes down into the pits, drops into his place. Angled pit stop because of the car sitting behind. You see that Ferrari sitting there, drop it into the wheels, and back to the battle for third overall, second in the category in LMP2. Now here is a good opportunity, not necessarily because Piquet looks as if he got a good slipstream, but also the cars up ahead of him. He goes to the right hand side, that's the wrong side. He's going round the outside effectively into the Dunlop corner. He's not going to get that done, but he's lining up, and now he'll try to do a switchback and then overtake down the hill through the S's. I don't think he's going to get that momentum to be able to get it done, and Negrão's able to block him off by overtaking the Krohn Ferrari and then sliding down the inside of the Beechdene Aston Martin as well.
Bernhard from here is going to need 2 more stops to get to the end.
Someone else who has just come into pit road is the leader of the Pro category as Bernhard heads out, but Taylor in the Corvette is in the pits for fuel. 1 hour, well, just under 1 hour 40 minutes to go.
Just looking at that with Bernhard not needing 2 full stops then. As says now Piquet has done it, he's got a slipstream and is this down into the first chicane? Yes it is, so he's on the outside coming down into the first chicane, and Negrão has let him run into the corner, so now Piquet is up to second. Thomas Laurent, the race leader now, is in the pits as Timo Bernhard has just gone out. Bernhard I don't think has filled the car completely full. As you said, he's got 2 stops, but there, if he fills the car full, then he's got extra weight in the car, so you would then try and equalise it out so the car weight is consistent for the rest of the race.
So this is a replay of the change of position. Third and fourth overall, Piquet slipstreaming him and then just out braking Negrão as they dived into the chicane there.
Negrão kind of let him run at the end. He realised it was sort of job done in that respect, and also possibility he got a radio call to say, hey, remember Piquet's got a 10-second penalty, don't take an unnecessary risk. And in reality I think Piquet had got the job done, so therefore it was kind of fait accompli.
He's got to cut and run, hasn't he? He's got to try and gain himself 10 seconds before his next pit stop. Bernhard, as we've seen, exiting the pits. The 38 car, this is the leader. Tyres going on it. As it heads down pit road. Laurent was on board as it came in. Hoping Tung now aboard that car. He's going to take it all the way now. He's got a fresh set of tyres, full tank of fuel. Giles is on our calculations along with Lena of how many times they'll have to stop again. You reckon Bernhard twice, but so that's more. Is that still 2 or 3 now for the 38 car to go? It's touch and go.
It's going to be very close. Remember that there are only 10 lap stints in that car, just because of the fuel tank capacity of the LMP2s.
It's going to be 3 stops for the LMP2 cars, but again, not full stops.
It just depends whether they look at it by filling it up and running it to the end and hope that
they get a yellow, a safety car. Yeah.
Chances of actually reducing that final stop and getting rid of it, getting rid of the splash is very, very minimal. I think in the GTE battle, it is definitely more of a possibility, especially from the lead Aston Martin now of Johnny Adam, who's jumped into lead of that category.
Adam is very much going to be on fumes if we don't get something, and I do wonder whether if they can build enough of a lead that they'll come in and just take 5 seconds worth of fuel, because it's going to be super, super tight.
Yeah, but 5 seconds worth of fuel is still 40 odd seconds with pit lane entry, pit lane exit, as you see a left rear only change. No, they're changing both rears. In fact, they're changing all 4 wheels. Not the most energetic stop I've seen.
This car currently sat in 23rd place overall. Heads out. We're just waiting for like sector 2 for Hoping Tongue to come up, just to kind of see what the gap is. It's still around. Oh, we're down to 141. So the Porsche now is 141 away from the lead. 339 laps completed for our leading 2 cars. Nelson Piquet Jr. just going through the chicane, out and away. The crowd just behind, 1 car between them at the moment. Piquet Jr., remember, 10-second penalty to be added to the next pit stop.
Yeah, and the starter motor issues. Let's not forget to factor that in, because it has been a problem at the last 3 stops. They've certainly had to remove the rear deck, give it the wallop, and remember they got that penalty, the drive-through penalty, that would have put him way ahead of Negrão if he hadn't had that drive-through penalty, which was for starting the engine, putting the rear deck on and not stopping it before they went. So I'm intrigued to see how that whole thing plays out. I suspect the number 13 is going to have to turn around and at some point consolidate 3rd place in the class, 4th place overall. We've just seen a fastest lap of the race so far from Sebastian Buemi on board the number 8 Toyota, 3:18.6. There's nothing to chase. There's nothing to chase.
There is. The fastest lap. They have nothing else to chase. So they got the...
True, and there is a point for fastest lap in WEC. But so he's just taken that point.
That previous fastest lap was set on lap 3.
Yes.
327 laps ago was when our fastest lap was just set. So Toby has joined us. Alan, I think, has probably gone out for another cup of tea. But Toby is being in the back of the box, just kind of overlooking stuff, and he's got a purple mark with lots of writing. He's been writing lots of stuff.